Hello, 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 everybody that is not there, which is totally okay with me because you guys will catch it when you catch it. I'll share it to other search engines and so on platforms so you don't miss it because I want this information to be very useful. A little bit about myself. I'm going to give a quick intro, and I was hoping that I had a few viewers that would be live with me, but I understand that this is my first, well, not my first, but my second live. So I'm getting more acclimated to doing more live shows. So I don't have to worry about all of the extra editing and all of this extra stuff that takes a little bit too much time. And YouTube is kind of greedy for attention, so it's easier for me to just do it this way. But I am a set. I have done a lot of things in my life, and one of the things that tickle me the most is food. Food, and another thing that tickle me besides that is health. So, with the combination of food and health are two things that really are explosive to me in my life besides my kids, and I just most definitely want to share my experiences that I have had with food. So I come from New Orleans, Louisiana. I have a heavy, heavy taste bud when it comes to picking up on spices and herbs and all these different mixtures and things like that. I started off in the front yard fixing mud pies, graduated to making concoctions of soy sauce, salt, hot sauce, pepper, all this crazy stuff in one bowl, taste testing it and finding out if it tastes good or nasty. Taste test was approved. After that, I began to make little grit balls. And then from there on out, I knew right then and there I belonged in the kitchen. That's where my heart was because I was being very creative at a young age. So, a little fast forward, come from New Orleans, come to the East Coast, get into the military and business. And before that, I was selling crawfish pies. I don't know if you guys are familiar with crawfish pies, but it's one of the staples down in New Orleans that many people don't make, but I do. And my aunt, who passed away, God bless her, rest in peace, she showed me how to make this scrumptious meal that basically stole everybody's heart when I presented it to them. So I began to sell these pies in New Orleans, and then I took that on the road with me to the West Coast and began to sell those here as well. I began to sell food on a larger scale with catering, of going from uh, hair salons to schools to shipyards and so on and so on, distributing my food, and I was very proud of it. As time passed on, I noticed that food was a healing agent, and the food that I was making wasn't really, it was three-course meals, but I knew I could do better once I learned how to use food as a tool versus a weapon. And there I just grew into understanding genetically modified foods, how it hurts the body, how it hurts the fetus. And then I began to understand more about organic foods, how organic food versus commercial food doesn't have minerals and vitamins in it, and how much our bodies need vitamins and minerals. So I began to understand how the soil that we grow our food in today does not have vitamins and minerals, and they're serving us dead foods, and so on and so on. We pay less and don't have much life to offer. When we pay a little bit more, then we extend our lives because of the choices that we make. So as time was going on, this is what I've been picking up. I've been understanding how certain foods can trigger the body, trigger the organs, herbs, spices, and so on and so on. And my learning was pretty much a fun journey. It had been a fun journey, and I'm still learning. So today, I wanted to talk about some things that some people may not be savvy about when it comes to corrective health. Now, mind you, I am not a doctor, I am not a physician, I am not a nutrition. although I should be all three of them. But hold on, let me scratch that. I am just not certified, nor do I have the degree to perform surgeries and so on and so on. But when it comes to giving the body what it needs to thrive and survive, that be me. So if it was God's will, and God had a voice that was here for me, I'm sure God would say, yeah, you're considered to be a doctor, or you should be considered a nutritionist, and so on and so on. But since we're living in this society, I do not have those titles, so I am not qualified to be called as such unless you're comfortable enough to consider me as so. So with that said, I present my information to you. I don't have a lot. I'm sorry, I can offer a whole lot, but I don't have a lot of time to express everything. So I have to break this up in different segments over time just to share what I know with you guys. So this is the perfect time for you guys to go ahead and subscribe and catch up with me and hit that notification button so you can stay up with some of the things that you may have not known. So without further ado, I want to just grab my notepad and just talk about a few things that I had some people that was on some social media platforms that may not be here with me right now, but they had asked me some questions, a few other different people, and they asked me some questions, and I'm going to just share a few. Some of them was with headaches. Some of them were with inflammation. Some of them had other different questions, but I will share it on the other side, but they're not here. If they are here, then hopefully you can put your questions inside of the comment box, and I'll give you my best knowledge. And also, we're going to keep it open. We're going to keep it open. Nothing is structured right now. So, but inflammation. A lot of people, I had one person that asked me about headaches. First and foremost, when it comes to your body and how it ticks, one of the main things that we fail to realize is that we're not getting enough water in our system. And the world is based up off of water. We're just this foundation that is sticking up out of a whole bunch of water that surrounds us. So if the earth felt like water was that important, then how come we don't think that water is important for our body? So when it comes to headaches, when it comes to inflammation, when it comes to that was another question somebody had mentioned about nerves, things like that, dry eyes. It all stems from lack of hydration and also inflammation. So water is one of the things that govern our body. It is the biggest makeup of our body. If we're not getting the amounts of water that we're supposed to have on a daily basis, we're dying. Our organs are suffering. Our organs are shriveling up. Our nerves are intensified. They're straining. They're trying to look for some source of hydration, and we're not giving it what we need. If our hands are dry, if our skin is dry, if our lips are dry, if our hair is brittle, if anything on our body is unlike what we're used to as a child, if we can remember the healthy part of us, then that a lot of times has to do with lack of water. Water is the water source. It is the life source of everything. And so headaches tend to get accompanied by dehydration. If you're not drinking a lot of water, then your brain is lacking oxygen, and your your red blood cells carries H2O period throughout the body. So if we're not bringing in the water, then like I said before, everything is trying to survive. So it's like drying a raisin in the sun. It looks very tense. And if it had a head, it would have a headache. So if you rehydrate raisin, you will realize that it picks that water up. If you take a raisin and put it inside of a cup of water, watch how it picks up the water and rehydrate itself. Same thing with an organ in your body. If you're drying it out, it's going to intensify and cause intensity within you. It's going to make you irritable. It's going to make you feel like you can't go to the bathroom. It's going to make you feel like you have a headache, a migraine, and water can solve these simple problems. Some people say, you know what, I'm not a big water fan, but you should be. And it's only because you've conditioned yourself to not be a water fan. Something that I tell some people when I talk to them about water and they give me that story saying that they are not water fans, the first thing I express to them is, why don't you take a small bottle? Take it slow. Don't try to rush something. Take it slow. Get a small 12-ounce bottle and take it with you. And intruders. I wonder if I locked the door. But I tell them, hey, why don't you just take a bottle, and I have a baby in the background. So, hey, excuse me. Hey, excuse me. Do you mind going out for a second? Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye. See you later. Hi, you want to say hi? Yeah. Oh, you got all kind of mosquito bumps on you. I'm loving on my baby. Say hi. Hi. Okay. So, go ahead. Shut the door. So one of the things that I always say to them, go ahead, baby. Shut the door. See you later. Thank you. Oh, my. Yes. Okay. I'll let him work his way out. Oh, thank you. Okay, go ahead and shut the door. I mean, a half a bottle of ketchup. Go ahead. Bring ketchup. Sorry about that. Baby, please go ahead and step out. I'm doing a live video. Go ahead, take him with you. Huh? I'm doing a live video. Lock the door. Lock both doors. Okay. Hurry up. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So one thing that I always say, thank you for your patience. One thing that I mentioned to them is start off easy, to take it slow. You know, it's not easy to go ahead and get used to water, but once you get onto it, it's like your body realizes that it got what it's been missing, so it's going to start asking for more, and you're going to find yourself drinking more water than you realize. So to drink a small cup or have a glass bottle. I never recommend people drinking out of plastic because plastic is not good for the body. Not only that, when people fill these bottles up with water, that water is a memory, and if you put bad plastic, that plastic is going to release into that water, and it's going to memorize what the plastic is and bring it into your body, and you become plastic. You become that aspect of the portion of that water. So I would always recommend drinking out of a glass container, a clean glass. And if you do drink out of something that's plastic, make sure that there's the number 1 or BPA underneath it in that triangle. So especially when it comes to men and boys, some people may not realize that plastic can lower the reproductive system when it comes to men. So to drink out of a plastic container all the time is very, very big time no for our boys and men. Same with soy. No soy for the boy. So when it comes to water, drinking it out of a glass, if you can get a glass jar, like a pickle jar, we don't have to be fancy about it. We just want to stay hydrated. You can get a pickle jar that is at least 25 ounces of water, and that would be suitable. If you can drink 3 of those and drink one at a time, just kill it. okay, or drink half at a time, then your body will start saying, you know what, I like it and I want more, and you're going to be forced to want more water. Even if you take that jar with you wherever you go, just sip away, and then you're going to condition yourself to drink more and more water. And that's how you begin the process of hydrating yourself. The minute you begin to step away from the water, is when your body's going to realize it, and it's going to start doing some show and tell. You're going to start getting dry mouth. These are some simple things that show you when you're going into a dehydration state, and sometimes you can be way past that marker and start getting some side effects. So and it has a lot to do with constipation as well. So water is very important. Our body has about maybe 73 to 75% water, and we're supposed to have that much consistently. When we start drying ourselves out, we have less, and now we're not living anymore. We're dying. So, and your water, your cells need to rehydrate as much as possible. So that can cure a lot. It can cure irritable bowel. It can cure headaches. It can deal with inflammation, and so on and so on and so on. So water is, I'm a big advocate for water. So another thing is something that one of the people had questioned me about was inflammation. And inflammation is one of my biggest specialties when it comes to understanding why the body is like dealing with a breakdown. I did so much studies on inflammation because I was full of it. I used to drink tons. I used to eat a lot of sugar. And even though I didn't drink sodas, sugar was in everything that I picked up on. If it wasn't in a heavy dosage, it was in a low dosage that can convert into it. And my body was getting a big toll off of what I was putting in. So I found myself eating a lot of snacks, Cheetos, and I wasn't eating healthy. Although I was cooking healthy, I wasn't taking advantage of it because I was saying to myself, I don't want that weight to stick on me. But instead I will pick up some cereal and milk, and didn't realize that you're causing more harm. You may as well eat the food that you've prepared versus eating dead food that's killing you quicker. So I've made this tonic, and this tonic has done some miraculous things for me and other people. And I was dealing with some serious pains within my body. And one of the main pains was on my left side of my abdomen. I was experiencing pains for 3 years plus. And I went to the doctor, asked them about it. They did ultrasounds, they did laparoscopies, they did all kind of things, that CAT scans that did not show any sign of anything. And one day I was about to jump out of the bed and go to the emergency room in the middle of the night because I couldn't take it anymore. And at that point, I was instructed to do something different versus going to the emergency room, which was like take a Motrin. And I normally don't have Motrin. Okay. I have it if they prescribe it to me, but I typically don't take it. I will shelf it before I take it. And when I took it, I realized that that pain subsided. Now, I was dealing with this kind of pain for 3 years straight. This pain never died out, period. It never died out. It just stayed. It was at a level 3. When it inflamed, it went to a 10 and came right back down to a level 3. And I couldn't get away from it for 3 years plus. So that one day I jumped up, I said, enough is enough. And I decided to take a Motrin. So I noticed that the Motrin stopped it. And the first thing I said to myself was, wait a minute. Motrin deals with inflammation. Inflammation has a lot to do with the foods that we eat. So I said, I will not take another Motrin because I have not experienced non-pain for 3 years plus. So I decided to think about some foods that deal with inflammation naturally. And then I potent it. I took it to a totally different level. And turmeric and ginger was one of my main things that dealt with this issue. So I have added some other proprietary ingredients and realized that it took care of all of the issues that I had been experiencing for years. Back pains, knee pains, plantar fasciitis, pains in the hip. And I questioned myself, what am I doing? What is causing this? And I said, it's those dang on Cheetos. It's that lack of water. It's not eating a healthy meal. It's not doing this. And I was eating more naughty stuff versus the things that I was putting on my Instagram pages. I was really perpetrating, I'm like, you know what? It looks good, but I don't want to get big. But then I realized when I was taking these this drink for a month to 2 months, it was causing me to detox, and it was pulling all the inflammation out of my body. And it started with the pain in my side. The pain in my side went away instantly. So what I'm trying to say is that inflammation is a very, very, very serious issue. It can hit you many different ways. So we eat breads, we eat a lot of things that causes inflammation. We eat lots of rice. We don't really combine our food with a vigorous salad or leafy green salad or vegetables. Or vitamins such as fruits and things like that. And then if we do take these things, we find ourselves taking the lesser vitamin, the things that have lesser potency. And we never take the things that are rich in vitamins and minerals. So our body is still being shortchanged. So, and then we deal with food pyramids that express to us this is how it's supposed to be when it's really not. You're not supposed to combine meats and breads. It cancels out the enzymes. You're supposed to have, if you're going to eat a meat, you're supposed to follow it with a leafy green so the greens can push the meats out. When you combine all of these foods that do not supposed to go together according to the food pyramid, then you cancel the enzymes and then you create inflammation. And one of the things that people might like chop my head off about would be pork. One of the things that I really get a kick off is pork is our biggest enemy when it comes to food. And I'm sorry if I'm ringing some people's ears about pork, but I have to let you know that pork is not your friend. Mr. Piggly Wiggly is not your friend. Porky the Pig is not your friend. Porky the Pig is swine that had been pushed off of a cliff because it was considered useless. Okay. Well, actually, that was a scapegoat, but they still ran it off into the woods. But still, what they're saying is that it's a very useless item that you should be consuming. It's not to be eaten by humans because they're full of inflammation. They cause mucus. They are mucus. They don't have any pores. So you're eating the very things that causes arthritis in your body. They have arthritis. So they're passing their arthritis off to you. This is why the doctors would say, if you're dealing with arthritis, lay off the pork. If you're dealing with high blood pressure, lay off the pork. It has very high salt content and very high mucus intake. Very, very high inflammation. It causes the body to just... And then there's a worm that is called the trichinosis worm that goes into the joint that you cannot cook off. You can't cook it. You can't kill it because its main thing is to protect itself. Okay. I know I may be creeping some people out, but that's okay. That's my purpose. My purpose is to take you to another level health-wise so you can get to a higher being, higher you. And your consciousness is not toxified with inflammation and pains and things like that. So the pork is one of the things that society introduced to us and push onto us all the time. They push more pork on us than they push minerals on us, which I find very ironic. You need 70, let me see, 73%, 63% minerals in your body. And they don't promote it, but they'll promote pork. They promote vitamins before they promote minerals. So when you put this pork in your body, this pork has a worm that is released, and they claim that you can cook it until it is fried hard and it kills the parasites. But truth be told, they don't die. They're very resilient, and what they do is they cocoon themselves for the heat to resist, so they can resist the heat. And then when they are in a relaxed state, there's no heat. Once you consume it, it goes into the body, and then they unfold, and then they release into your body. This is how we get parasites. This is how we get all these tapeworms and all these little things in our body, because of the unwinding of the worm or the parasite we thought we killed off. So when it goes into the body, it begins to eat in between your cartilages. It eats in between your hands, your knuckles, your knees, anywhere where there's a joint, and it causes inflammation in those areas. This is why when people have gout, they say lay off the pork. So little food for thought. So this pork causes a lot of mucus buildup in the body along with milk. I had someone that asked me about that as well. Okay. So give me 1 second and I'll get to it, okay? So some years ago, I read that milk is not your friend either, and milk is one of the things that causes. They claim that it reduces osteoporosis, but in reality, it makes your bones porous and causes osteoporosis. Sorry, I had to break it, but yes. So when you are drinking all of this milk, you think you're doing your body a just favor, but guess what? In reality, you're reversing your healthiness into an unhealthy state, and also causing more inflammation in the body, more mucus buildup in the body, because this milk is not meant for us, and we're not supposed to be drinking it the way they have it, the way they pasteurize it and things like that. So these are the things that we eat on a normal basis, and milk, meat, and bread, cheese, all of these things are playing a serious part in your body, and it's causing you to have inflammation. And when you don't drink water, you're causing yourself to get dehydrated. We are not advocating vegetables. This is why our kids don't like it, because we don't advocate it enough. We do not eat enough protein. We eat the protein that we do eat. We tend to eat it, but it is the protein that sticks to the body, which is meats. There's different ways how we can obtain protein in our bodies versus eating meat. Now, I'm not saying back away from meat. I mean, to each his own, but just note that most meats are not created the same. And when you dealing with beef versus chicken, or lamb versus chicken or beef, or things to that nature, they are lesser. The ones that I typically stay away from is beef and pork. I would eat lamb from time to time, but lamb is very, very, very fatty. It's greasy, and it also can bring up your cholesterol levels because of it being so greasy, and it solidifies in your arteries as well, causing plaque buildup. So for people who may have issues with plaque buildup, some of the foods that I tend to incorporate into my meals are asparagus. A lot of people may not realize that asparagus cleans the arteries. It takes the buildup from out of the arteries. And garlic. Garlic is another thing that cleans the arteries and clean those walls as well. So you guys make sure you put these things on your shopping list so you can consistently stay on top of it if you're trying to do better for yourself. Um, and if there is something that you feel that you want to continue to look into, it's nothing but a click away. You know, the internet is there for us. There's all kind of things that's on this World Wide Web that allow us to go in and ask questions about foods that help the body along the way. Lamb is not a big choice of mine because of those reasons. So I would mainly stick with chicken or fish or seafood. And a lot of times I'm more on the veggie side versus the meat or poultry side or the seafood side. But chicken, turkey, those things are lesser because they don't stick to the body as they most definitely stay in the body, but they pass out faster than beef. And then beef, when it's cooked at a high temperature, it releases carcinogens. So if you're cooking it on a grill or you're cooking it under a broiler or things like that, that red meat is being provoked by that heat, which is releasing harmful chemicals in the body. Not and let's not forget to mention, depending on what kind of meat you have, if it's grass fed or commercially taken care of, you know, those play huge factors as well because of the way the cow had been taken care of. Right? If you're in a toxin situation, you're going to have a toxin calf, a cow, and then it's going to be served to the people, which makes it double time worse when it gets on the grill. Right? So yeah, I tend to stay away from meats as much as I can, especially if I don't have a taste bud. I don't typically feed my kids it. If they ask for it, that's different. But so when it comes to moving the system with water, when you eat beefs or meats, you must drink tons of water. I had a serious issue with moving my bowel, and I started off with green tea. I was like an advocate for green tea, dietist tea. It would send me on my way and I would have no problems, and I would feel like I would be in heaven for days because I was relieved and I couldn't go by myself like I was supposed to. So I became very dependent on it until I realized protein shakes was doing something for me. And then I realized the protein shake wasn't working anymore. And then I went down to the very last drop. The solution was water. I didn't realize water was that powerful until it was sending me to the bathroom. And I say, wow, water does that? Water had my skin flawless. Water had my feet much softer. Water had my hair full of elasticity. Water had my hair growing. Water had my nails shooting out my fingertips. Water had me on my way. And I was like, Dan, I was going through green teas. I was going through protein shakes, and until I got to the water system. So I was eating meat, and then I realized water will push it all out. Water will push it out. So people don't realize that they're supposed to have a certain amount of water in their body. People don't realize they're supposed to have a certain amount of vitamins. People don't realize they're supposed to have a certain amount of minerals. People don't realize they're supposed to have a certain amount of leafy greens. People don't realize they're supposed to have the proper things in their bodies, but they realize the very thing that's not supposed to be in, they take in faithfully. And that's like fast foods, non-3-course meals, lack of water. So, and so on and so on and so on. So if you guys have any questions, I can go on and on and on, but I most definitely don't want to drag your ear out. But what I will do is I will talk more and I will talk more next week around the same time Sunday and put another video out and have it direct towards some of the foods and herbs that can kind of like get your body ticking in the right direction. Right now, I'm just expressing how the things that we eat are really hurting us, and we may not be savvy about that. So, water is my intro for this health and healing and correctiveness when it comes to living. So if we can start doing more water, we will begin to heal our bodies in areas in which we may have not understood. If we can start eliminating more sugar content or starchy contents, we can tackle our inflammation. If we start taking away the milk products, the ice cream, the cheese. Cheese is a big deal, and it tastes so good. People don't realize cheese is is an enzyme, and the enzyme is considered rennet. And the rennet comes from a baby calf's intestines, the lining. Now, the intestines is a very important thing for any human being, the digestive system. Any human being, any animal, any pest, any bug, anything. We all have a digestive system. And if our digestive system is not working properly because of the slow up, such as the meats, the cheese, the starch, breads, all of that, then we're going to die off, and we're going to die off starting at the gut. People are dying a lot because of pancreas cancer. My grandmother, she passed away from pancreas cancer. And although I've never had it, God bless those who have experienced it. But from what I understand, it's a very, very painful cancer. And when I hear the word pancreas, I think about what are we eating when it comes to cancer? What are we eating? It's something that, it's always something that we're eating that's taking us to this level. And when we're eating stuff like cheese, this stuff is coming from one gut and going to another gut. Logically, from gut to gut, this cheese is putting a film on our villi. We have little finger hairs, finger-like hairs that are around our intestinal walls that guide the food out. And if we have tons of inflammation that is in these pockets, these linings, and is on top, it is not allowing anything to flow like this, like guiding it out. It's not pushing it out. So when we eat rennet or cheese, these very things that are going into our body, into our intestines, are stopping us from digesting the food. It's stopping it from passing out. This is why you may see men with big giant stomachs. It's not cute. Okay? It's not cute. This is why you see women complain before a man do. A man think it's cute and heavy, but it's not. When I see it, I say that man or that woman may have a very bad, has a bad digestive system. And they're asking for it if they don't check themselves sooner or later. And it has a lot to do with the lacking of the villi pushing it out. So when you're eating carne asada with burritos and eggs, or steak and potatoes, or hamburgers, or pasta and meats, and it's tons of combinations that we don't pay attention to. And these are the very things that are canceling out our digestive enzymes. We need our enzymes to help us push this food out. This is why we go to the bathroom. But if we're not going to the bathroom, that basically means those toxins are staying in. And while those toxins are staying in, after a while, they're going to pierce through your gut and cause you to have a leaky gut. And then now you're dealing with a bigger issue, because now you're dealing with blood issues, taking the blood from clean to dirty because you have your toxin area exposed over to your blood area, and now you're asking for major issues unless you get it taken care of soon. So after this video, I really would like for you guys to be more mindful of water intake and what you're bringing in. Do a little homework on yourself and find out what your issues may be. And then do a little homework on the food that you eat and find out if it is conducive for you and your well-being. Start questioning the things that you're taking in. It's very, very easy and simple to do. We just don't think about it. Nobody introduced it to us to think about it. So until then, I will see you guys on the next video next week. 4:30. I would say 4. Since I started at 4:30, I had a little hiccup with my startup, but I got it going and I'm ready for next week. And you guys don't forget to subscribe, share, go to my Instagram page. I have tons and tons of food ideas that are 3-course or literally ideas for you to throw on your plate just in case you say, hey, I don't know what to cook. They are great ideas. I have a lot of ingredients that are listed. So the way I cook is very simple. So check out my Facebook page. Savory Date is all in the description box, and pick what's best for you. On my Facebook page, I'm talking about a lot of things, health benefits and tips. On my Instagram page, these are food preps, ideas, and things like that. And on my YouTube page, I am just sharing my technique. I cook well. I am very proud of my cooking skills, my technique, and I just want to share that with you guys. So I'll see you guys next week, and I can't wait to share this so I can bring some more people to the table, and then we take our food and our health to the next level. All right, you guys. So until then, happy eats, happy drinking water, H2O, and happy living. And I'll see you guys next time. Okay.